Food prices going up, energy prices going up, healthcare prices going up, building supplies going up, Halloween shopping going up, Thanksgiving shopping going up, holiday shopping going up. The other side is just up, up, up. Abigail has got plans to make housing, to make healthcare, to make the basic necessities of life more affordable for Virginians when the other side is just jacking it up day after day. Abigail's the right candidate. Abigail's talking about education. Abigail wants to make Virginia schools, and we've got a lot to be proud of in Virginia schools, K-12 and higher ed. She says, make them the best in the nation. The best in the nation. We can do that. And how about the other side? The other side, what are they doing on education? In Washington, destroying the Department of Education. That is the other side's educational agenda, destroy the Department of Education. Finally, and then I'm going to conclude, Abigail talks about creating good-paying jobs all over this Commonwealth, every corner, rural, urban, suburban, investing in good-paying jobs. What is the other side doing? Firing thousands of people. This administration has fired more veterans than any administration in the history of the United States. We got to have somebody who wants to grow jobs, not somebody who gets pleasure and joy out of laying people off. Abigail's the right candidate for Virginia right now. And so I'm gonna finish where I started. In 2008, we sent a message, and not a quiet one. We sent a loud message when we broke tradition in Virginia and supported my friend Barack Obama to be president of the United States. And then what we got by sending that message was 8 years of great government of this country. If we do what we know how to do, Virginia, we will send a loud message on Tuesday. We will get 4 years of great government. So this Commonwealth, hope for a lot of people all over this country and all.
The House of Delegates, the gentleman from Portsmouth, Speaker Don Scott. Hampton Roads. Yeah. I see you. You know, we got a lot of work to do. I know y'all turn the TV on every day and say, can he do that? Is that legal? Is anybody going to stop him? He getting on my nerves. Every day you see that. You know, It's amazing to watch Republicans in Virginia have to twist themselves in a pretzel to defend the foolishness that this guy does. Do y'all remember? Now work with me now, because I know some of y'all in here young. Y'all look good, by the way. Do y'all remember when Barack Obama wore a tan suit? And everybody, say it with me, everybody lost their mind. This dude tore down the damn White House last week. Can he do that? So I'm gonna be short. My wife texted me a few minutes ago and she said, look, bro, that's how we talk. Look, bro, I need you to be brief, be bold, and be gone. And so I'm gonna follow her instructions. I got a very, very simple job right now. I need y'all to understand what the assignment is. It's not a difficult assignment. We live in a military area, don't we? Well, we love our veterans, don't we? I'm a former naval officer, and I take great pride in the fact that we are home to the largest naval base in the world, right here in North. But don't get it twisted. You got a job to do too. There are young men and women out there right now, stand and watch, all over the world for our freedoms, for this whole idea that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. They're doing their job. Are you gonna do your job? I need you to say this name. Jay Jones. Oh, y'all sound shaky. Let's try this again. I need y'all to say this name. Jay Jones. I need y'all to say this name. Ghazala Hashmi. Say it. Hold on, because some of y'all acting like y'all don't understand the accent I have. Ghazala Hashmi. And then I need y'all to follow me right now because we're about to elect the first female governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger. Say it with me, Abigail Spanberger. Speak out.
I didn't know they had technical difficulties over there. What's going on?
Abigail Spanberger unveiling her plans to make housing more accessible and affordable in Virginia.
She plans to lower the cost of prescription drugs while holding pharmaceutical companies accountable.
Spanberger's proposal all
Commonwealth of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger!
Good afternoon, Virginia. I am Abigail Spanberger, and I am excited that we are going to win in 3 days. Thank you all for being here today. What an incredible crowd. And what an incredible moment this is for Virginia. I am thrilled to be here in Norfolk, and I am honored to be joined on stage in a few minutes by President Barack Obama. On Tuesday, we are going to send a message that Virginia is turning the page. So let me ask you, is Virginia ready for leadership that puts our Commonwealth first? You know, we are approaching the end of a nearly 2-year-long journey. Almost 2 years of campaigning across every corner of this beautiful Commonwealth. From Farmville to Fairfax, from Wytheville to Woodbridge, and from Pennington Gap to Portsmouth, P-Town's in the house. We have 3 more days until the end of this chapter. And Virginia, do you know what makes this moment so special? It's all of you, because on Tuesday night, the whole country will be watching what it is that we do. This is our moment, and I cannot wait to see what we do with it. Looking out at this amazing crowd, I see so many friends I grew up with here in Virginia, friends from my time serving in Congress representing Virginia's 7th District, and friends I have made across our Commonwealth as I have been running for governor. It is amazing to think about the journey that we have taken together, and as I ask for Virginians to put their trust in me as our next governor, I would like to tell you why I am running. It is because I want to serve Virginia. I grew up in Henrico County, and our house was a house of service. My father, an Army veteran and then a career law enforcement officer. My mother, a nurse and a volunteer and advocate in all things. They always used to say there is no higher calling than service to our country. And I grew up knowing that I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. And I did. First, as a federal agent working narcotics cases, going after child predators, cracking down on money launderers. And from there, I went on to serve as a CIA case officer, working counterterrorism cases, serving undercover, working to keep the American people safe. Every day, my colleagues and I came together to work on behalf of the American people, and we were focused on a mission: keeping the American people safe. But this mission, focus, this commitment to country, it isn't unique to me or to my family. It is ingrained in so many Virginia families. It is part of Virginia's story. Virginia is where American democracy was born. And Virginia is where we are still working to perfect it today. Virginia is where James Madison built the framework for a constitutional system strong enough to move a young nation away from tyranny. And Virginia is where Barbara Johns, a young 16-year-old student from Farmville, led a student walkout that became part of the Brown v. the Board of Education case. Virginia has been and Virginia will be an example for the rest of the country. And come Tuesday, the eyes of all Americans will turn to see the results of this election. And once again, like we always do, Virginia will show leadership. Virginia will set an example. And that is what I love about our Commonwealth. And it is why my husband Adam and I are so proud to call Virginia our home. You see, back in 2014, we were living on the West Coast, stationed there with my job at CIA after spending time overseas, and we were getting ready to bid on our next post. And with CIA, you can go anywhere in the world. And so we said to our oldest daughter, we have 3 beautiful, amazing daughters, and we said to our oldest daughter, who was in kindergarten at the time, "Where do you think we should go?" We pulled out a globe. We said, "What do you think? Kenya, England, where should we go? We can go anywhere. Where should we bid?" And she said, "Virginia." And we said, "No. No, with Mommy's job, we can't go back to Virginia." And she said, "Well, why wouldn't we go to Virginia? Everyone we love lives in Virginia." And so we decided to pivot from a path of service to country to service to community, because she was right. Everyone we love lives in Virginia. And now there are so many more people we love across Virginia. We came back home and we invested in the community that had made my husband and I who we are. I volunteered with Moms Demand Action. I started a Girl Scout troop. And then in 2017, I decided to run for Congress. And I'll be honest, and many of you were there, back then they told me it was a crazy endeavor. No Democrat had won the 7th district in 50 years. And my predecessor had won his race by 15 points just 2 years prior. But I saw what Donald Trump was doing with his executive power and how he was pitting neighbor against neighbor. And I saw my member of Congress over and over again vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And I knew I had to do something. So, spoiler, I won. And then I won again. And then again. And while I was serving in Congress, I worked with anybody and everybody to deliver results for the people of my district. I worked to lower drug costs and the price of insulin, to combat the fentanyl crisis, to support our nation's veterans, and to finally get more than 50,000 Virginia public servants, retired teachers, firefighters, police officers, and federal employees the Social Security benefits they had been denied. They had been denied for 40 years. That is the job of a public servant. And you might not know it looking at the news these days, but it's true. Come January, when I'm sworn in as the 75th governor, of Virginia, that's what I will do. I will continue to serve Virginians, working with everybody and anybody to do right by all of you and our neighbors across Virginia. Now, I don't have to tell you all the stakes of this election. They are high. And with the political turmoil coming out of Washington right now, this election is an opportunity. Because in just 3 more days, when the polls close, Virginia voters can and will send a message. Amid the recklessness and the heartlessness coming out of Washington, Virginia can and will flip statewide seats from red to blue.
All right. She got 56-point lead. 56% point lead. She got it. We're going to go right to blue all over the country. Yes.
We're the only state, in our case a Commonwealth, the only state in America that can say that this year. The only one. And we have critical elections on Tuesday for the House of Delegates. We have candidates running in all 100 districts this year.
See, that's the problem, Johnny S325 and Crazy 5150 and Robert Sean Aguilar. You Republicans don't stand for nothing. Now everybody's saying that you don't stand for anything. You hate the gays, you hate the trans, you hate the illegals, you hate the immigrants, you hate the blacks, you hate the white, you hate abortion. That's all y'all do is hate. Y'all don't stand for nothing. There's nothing that you stand for. You hate. That's all I just heard was hate. Democrats like illegals. What do you like? Y'all don't like nothing because y'all don't stand for nothing. Republicans stand for nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you do. You guys believe in giving your money to the rich guys.
And we have truly amazing candidates to get excited about this year. In every corner of our Commonwealth, we have people who want to serve their communities, who want to bring the voices of their neighbors to Richmond. In every corner of the Commonwealth, there is a Democrat running for a House of Delegates. And at this moment, it is on us to send a message. On every major issue facing Virginia's families, my opponent is focused on the wrong things. Now, in Virginia, we need a governor who will recognize that Virginians are struggling to afford the rising costs in healthcare, housing, and energy. We do not need someone who will support a terrible law that will raise costs on housing and energy while giving tax breaks to billionaires and corporations, all the while decimating Virginia's healthcare. We need a governor who will support the thousands upon thousands of Virginia's families whose livelihoods have been disrupted or destroyed because of DOGE and now this government shutdown. We do not need someone who has said that losing a job isn't a real issue when we have Virginians who have dedicated themselves to service to our country, who have lost their jobs because of bad policies. And a reckless administration. We need a governor who will speak up when
You don't stand for anything. Nobody has a list. Oh yeah, I forgot. Please put in the search, put in the chat. Please put in the chat what that big beautiful bill did to the people or gave to the people between 30 and 150K. Please put that in the chat. I would love to know what y'all got out of that big beautiful bill, except giving your money to the rich people.
when careless, chaotic, reckless economic policies out of Washington hurt our economy, raising costs for families, making it harder for small business owners to survive, and crushing Virginia's farmers. We do not need someone who has been in lockstep with this administration every step of the way. Now, make no mistake about it, these attacks on Virginia's economy are creating challenges. And we need a governor who will stand up against them and also plan for a brighter, better future.
Abigail!
So, Virginia, my fellow Virginians, let me be as clear as I possibly can be. I will always stand up for Virginia families. I will always work to grow our economy. And I will always put Virginia, not a president, not a party, first.
Hope that keeps you warm at night, BJ Williams. The big beautiful bill did jack shit. Did jack shit. All them billionaires and millionaires got all that money, and you zombies gave it to them. Just gave it to them. Now you're building them a place to put next to the White House, making them tear down our house for some garbage. You guys are zombies because you don't stand for nothing, and you haven't pushed back on a president who's been reckless since he's been elected. You don't stand for nothing, you Republicans. You don't push back on nothing. Oh, you're wrong, Johnny S. Very much wrong. And I definitely ain't wrong about you not pushing back. No pushback whatsoever. You just let the president do whatever he wants to do, and you don't benefit from it not one bit. I ain't seen one thing that president, since he's been elected, I haven't seen one thing this president has done for anybody other than the rich people. Not one thing. And none of y'all can list it. Not one.
Abby is much easier than Abigail, isn't it? And much better than Spanberger. So let me tell you what the next 3 days are really about. They're about you, and they're about all of us deciding what kind of Virginia that we...
I have a doctorate in English. Nathan, idiot. You have no pushback. Nothing but zombies in that party. Nothing but zombies. Everything is okay with y'all. Him shooting boats out of the middle of water. Everything is okay with you guys. You're zombies.
We want to wake up to on Wednesday morning. It's about you, and it's about all of us deciding whether we want to live in a Virginia that fights for working families or one that doesn't. It's about you and all of us deciding whether we live in a Virginia that protects...
Johnny, I wouldn't mention nothing about taxpayers and immigrants and little girls and little spaces, seeing as how your president best friend was a pedo. Hang with birds of a feather flock together, and your president hung with the same bird. No pushback whatsoever. Epstein files, anybody?
Our freedoms or one that doesn't. And all of us are the ones that will make that choice. All of us, we have that power. But the results on Tuesday, they don't just reflect what it is that we are against. The results on Tuesday will be a reflection of what it is that we are for.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What us Democrats are for. What are you Republicans for? You're for nothing. You stand for nothing. That's the problem. You stand for nothing. You just let the president do anything. Illegal, legal, it don't matter. You just let him do anything. No pushback.
Because throughout this campaign, I have released detailed blueprints for Virginia's future. Because you deserve to know what I am for and what I want to do for you when serving you as your governor. Because Virginians deserve a governor with a plan to work every day to lower costs for Virginia families. And I have my Affordable Virginia plan to lower healthcare costs, to lower energy costs, and to make it more affordable for Virginians to buy a home, rent a home, or stay in their home. You deserve a governor who will make sure our public schools are the very best in the nation.
You don't stand for anything. You know what? We Democrats should stand for, or what I stand for. I stand for helping the homeless, the veterans, poor children, and the handicapped first. America first. People here first. Who do you stand for? Who do you stand for first? I haven't seen one of you guys. I haven't seen one of you guys put anything in the chat that says what you stand for first. I stand for America first. I don't stand for sending Israel money. I don't stand for sending Argentina money. But if you do, and you're a Republican, you had no pushback. No pushback. I know, ain't you tired of losing this year? That's good. Ain't y'all tired of losing this shit?
I have 3 daughters in Virginia public schools. This is personal to me, and it is personal to so many of us. And that's why my Strengthening Virginia Schools plan will make sure that every parent, grandparent, or somebody who knows and loves a child will know that we are setting our kids up.
Oh, you stand for nothing. Y'all stand for nothing. Y'all stand for nothing.
For success. And you deserve a governor who will work with Democrats and Republicans to grow our economy and not stand by while Virginia's workforce is under attack. You deserve a governor who will work to bring good-paying jobs to every corner of our Commonwealth. And that's my Growing Virginia plan. They aren't just talking points. They're actionable policies that I am ready to implement on day one. And I know how to get it done by bringing people together, by leaving the rhetoric at home, and by never forgetting.
Yes, I'm definitely trans. And you're one of those people that don't stand for anything because you just came out of your ass with trans. Oh, I hate the trans. I hate the gays. Oh, Lord have mercy. These Republicans don't stand for nothing. They hate everything, don't stand for nothing.
That our mission is to serve Virginia.
And yet and still, every time we inherit the White House or the Senate, the country flourishes. Every time we inherit the White House, we flourish. This country flourishes. It's amazing. It's amazing that we always go backward because the Republicans never know how to govern. They don't stand for anything except the rich, and they never know how to govern. It's amazing. Oh, why don't you do research? Why don't you all research? Instead of listening to me, do some research and find out who's had the most success out of the last 50 years of governing. Has it been the Democrats or the Republicans? Wow. I bet you ain't nobody gonna do no research on that. Wow.
That's what's at stake on Tuesday. So now voters have a choice to make. And I know there's a lot to consider. Here's the truth. The contrast in this campaign, it's not just about policy. It's also about approach. In Congress, I worked with Democrats and Republicans to get results for Virginia families. I had bills signed into law by a Republican president and a Democratic president. And year after year, I was ranked as the most bipartisan member of Congress from Virginia. And I was ranked as the most effective legislator in both the House and the Senate on agriculture issues. And my friends, I grew up in the suburbs and cannot even keep a basil plant alive. But my approach is to work with people. My approach is to endeavor to understand what is working and make it better, and what is broken and try and fix it. And as governor, I will work with anyone and everyone to get the job done for Virginians. That is what I have done my entire career. And that is the commitment to service and to mission that I believe all Virginians deserve.
Yeah!
Because the next time a little girl tells her family that she wants to move home to Virginia, I want that little girl's parents to be able to afford a house in the community that they want to live in.
That's right. Yeah, she's gonna be the first female Democratic governor of Virginia. Go ahead on. Oh, y'all, I told you you have to put in the chat. You have to put in the chat. Who had the most economic term as president? Who had the second best? Who had the third best? Please put it in the chat. Yes, the U.S. is the laughing stock of the world. We have a bumbling idiot as the president, and we have morons that we have zombies that elected him.
I want her parents to have jobs that will allow them to provide for their family. I want that little girl to go to a school where she is safe within its walls and where her teachers are well paid and well respected. I want that little girl to grow up in a community where the air is safe to breathe and the water is clean to drink. And I want that little girl to grow up in a commonwealth where her rights will be respected as she grows older. And I want that little girl and every child across Virginia to know that any dream they may have is theirs for the making because we, all of us, we did the work to make it so. And that is the Virginia that we are growing to build together. And that is why on Tuesday
My results will speak for themselves, Osmogood. It'll speak for themselves. It'll speak for themselves. There was no need to bet nobody. The country came out and 7 million people vote strong and said they do not want what this president is doing. So I don't need to even vet you. And I'm not betting anybody. I'm not betting anybody because it is what it is. Your president is trash, and we know that. So let's go. Let's go.
will elect a governor who follows through for a safer, stronger, and more affordable Virginia. That focus on public service and delivering results instead of following an extreme agenda. That focus is what I learned, not just from my parents or my time at CIA, but from watching leaders who got it right. Leaders like a certain former president, you know, I remember a time, not that long ago really, when we had a president who believed in working for all people, who believed in building coalitions to get things done, a president who helped millions of Americans finally afford the cost of their health care. A president who worked to bring Americans together instead of tearing us apart. A president whose approach to governance, his temperament, and his way of doing serious work with dignity and purpose and joy is a model for all of us. So, with that, I am thrilled to introduce you all to someone I am honored and grateful and humbled to have supporting me in this campaign, someone who represents the very best of public service, someone who is ready to help Virginia send a message on Tuesday. Virginia, are you fired up? Virginia, are you ready to go? So please, will you join me in welcoming back to Norfolk the 44th President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Democrats have won almost every election in 2025 except in Oklahoma. Democrats have won when they ran. So that's my whole take of that. So if it goes in our favor, and we've had a 7-point swing in our favor, we're doing good. We're sitting pretty as Democrats. Democrat. Hey, Randy, dummy. Hey, dummy. Hey, dummy. When did Obama do anything outside of the office of the president? He's done nothing outside of the presidency that will warrant him doing something illegal. So no, dummy. He's not going to jail, dummy.
Thank you. All right. Man, I'm fired up too. I am definitely ready to go. It is good to be back in Virginia.
After what loss? What are you talking about? After what loss? We ain't losing. We ain't losing. Your president is helping you all lose. Your president is helping you all lose. You have no pushback for this president. Nothing this president does is illegal. Nothing this president says is immoral. Nothing this president puts forward is said no by you and nobody else. And every person is tired of it. We're tired of looking at the news and saying, when is somebody going to stop him? Wow. Yeah, please remember this and clip it. Please do that. I don't know what you're talking about, Osmo God, but please clip whatever you think you need to clip.
It's good to be back in Norfolk. The last time I campaigned, in Hampton Roads, I was running for re-election. And I know I have not aged a bit.
Yeah, he's so dumb he don't know that. He don't know that, Gary. They don't know that. They think Obama going to jail. They don't know it. They dumb.
It is an issue. You've been around a long time when you're in a photo line and some tall guy, with a beard comes up and you're taking a picture. What's your name? And then pulls out, he says, this picture I want to show you. This is you holding me as a baby. And oh man, really? I'm old. But I am here today for a very important reason. I am here to ask you to vote for the next governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger. If you have not voted yet, make a plan to vote on Election Day, November 4th. Just visit abigailspanberger.com/vote. You can find out where to vote. You can also find a drop box.
So what, Herb Gillespie? Even if what you say is true, so what? That don't ever make us hate Obama. You just dumb like that. If you think that would make us hate him, you sound crazy.
For your mail ballot. And then you've got to get all your friends and your family to make a plan to vote. Because in 3 days, just 3, no more than 3, just 3. In 3 days, we have a chance to elect a leader who will help build a better, stronger, brighter future for Virginia. Si se puede. And Lord knows we need that light. We need that inspiration. Because let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. It's hard to know where to start. Because every day, this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and
Mr. Not
just
President.
plain craziness.
Yes.
We got a president who thinks it's okay to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. Hey, wait, don't boo. Vote. They don't hear boos, they hear votes. So we've got a president who replaced.
I hope you ain't talking about my chat, Edward. I don't give a damn what my chat is saying. This president right here is better than any president you could put up. Better than the president that you got now. Way far and removed better than the president you got now. Because the president you got now is trash. Okay? He is trash. And y'all have no pushback for this piece of trash. You let him do anything, say anything, do anything, treat your regular middle-class citizens like trash, take the middle-class citizens' money and give it to the rich people, and y'all have no pushback. You Republicans, maggots, have nothing to stand on. You never stand on nothing. You never stand on one thing. We never hear y'all standing on nothing. It's always, I hate the gays. I hate the trans. I hate the brown. I hate the hate. We don't care. Herb Gillespie, we don't care. He's still better than your trash president. He's still better.
This is career prosecutors with loyalists
Here I am, Glenn. Do some research. Zombie.
who will do what he wants, and now he's telling them what he wants is for them to hand over millions of taxpayer dollars that he had to pay in expenses for previously violating the law. We've got a commander-in-chief who fires decorated officers because he thinks they might be more loyal to the Constitution than they are to him. He's deploying the National Guard in American cities, claiming to stop crime waves that don't actually exist. We've got masked ICE agents pulling up in unmarked vans and grabbing people, including U.S. citizens, off the streets on the suspicion that they don't look like real Americans. We've got an HHS secretary who opposes proven science and promotes quack medicine. A top White House aide who calls Democrats, the whole party, domestic extremists. We got some poor labor economist who got fired.
We rather, you know what, Herb? I'd rather deal with the gay people than deal with a man who snatches young girls snatch. I really would rather deal with somebody who snatches who's gay than snatch girl snatch. I really would.
For accurately reporting bad jobs numbers that the
You,
president.
you really need to think about that. Your president likes young girls, and you're over here talking about gay people. You're fucked up.
Didn't like.
You're you're fucked up.
I mean, it's like every day is Halloween.
You're fucked up, Herb. You're fucked up.
Except it's all tricks and no treats. And here's the thing. It's not as if we didn't see some of this coming. I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. And by the way, he warned you too, because he said what he was going to do.
I'm happy for you, Herb. I'm happy for you.
But the fact is, there were plenty of people who voted for Trump and the Republicans anyway.
Zombies voted for him. Zombies voted for him. Some that don't do research, and some just listen to what somebody says and follow the voices. Those are called zombies. We got them in the chat.
And it wasn't because they wanted to give up the right to free speech or see our public health systems torn down, but because they were understandably frustrated with inflation and gas prices and the difficulty of affording a home and worries about their children's future, and so they were willing to take a chance.
Yes, on a zombie. On a zombie.
Now, 9 months later, you got to ask yourself, has any of that gotten better? Is the economy working better for you? Because it sure has gotten better for Trump and his family. You know, since he's been in office, the whole crypto business and other ventures have made hundreds of millions of dollars, including from foreign nationals and rich folks investing because they want to stay in the president's.
What he's saying is Trump is making the rich people richer and you regular folks poorer. Oh, by the way, has anyone put in the chat what the big beautiful bill has done for people between the wages of $30,000 and $150,000? Please, I want you to put it in the chat. Please and thank you.
Good gracious. The economy has been really good for some of Trump's billionaire pals and for finance bros and well-connected corporations who've seen their tax bills go down and don't have to worry about all these pesky regulators.
That would be amazing, too real. I would be there for it.
Anymore. But for ordinary families, costs haven't gone down. They've gone up. Partly thanks to this shambolic tariff policy. Young people trying to get a start in life are having a tougher time than ever finding a job. Entry-level hiring is down 16% from last year. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees, including a lot of people here in Virginia, have lost their jobs to pay for those billionaire tax cuts. We're talking about people who have dedicated their lives to public service, who make the country work. Healthcare premiums for millions of people are about to double or even triple next year. Meanwhile, the government is shut down, and the Republicans who currently are in charge of Congress, they're not even pretending to solve the problem. They have not even been showing up to work. Not in session. Where are you?
If you're a Republican, you're a zombie, Keith. Zombie Keith. Bill and Zombie are Keith.
What are you doing?
Bill and Keith are zombies.
And as for the president, he has been focused on critical issues like paving over the Rose Garden so folks don't get mud on their shoes, and gold plating the Oval Office and building a $300 million ballroom. So Virginia, here's the good news. If you can't visit a doctor, don't worry. He will save you a dance. And if you don't get an invitation to the next White House shindig, you can always watch the festivities and all the beautiful people on Truth Social. The point is, there is absolutely no evidence Republican policies have made life better for you, the people of Virginia. I mean, they've devoted...
We keep trying to explain that to people. We keep trying to explain that to them. But they don't seem to understand because they're zombies. Republicans don't understand. Has your party done anything for you? Has the Democrats started Section 8, public aid, Medicare, food stamp. Democrat Party started those programs to help the homeless, the poor, the indigent, the elderly, the veterans. The Democrats started those things. What did the Republicans start for you guys? Please put it in the chat. Please put it in chat.
Enormous energy in trying to entrench themselves in power and punishing their enemies and enriching their friends and silencing.
That's a lie, Keith. That's a lie. Obama just repaved the tennis court that was already there under his money. Stop lying.
Their critics, they put on a big show of deporting people and targeting transgender folks. They never miss a chance to scapegoat minorities and DEI for every problem under the sun. You got a flat tire? DEI. Wife mad at you? DEI.
It is a lie. He repaved the tennis court under his dime. You stop lying.
What they have not devoted energy to is helping you. They have not put forward serious proposals to lower housing costs or make groceries more affordable. They haven't improved our schools. They haven't made health care more accessible. They haven't shortened your commute or prepared young people for the future where AI might take their job. And all the nonsense we see on the news every day, the over-the-top rhetoric, the fabricated conspiracies, the weird videos of a U.S. president with a crown on his head flying a fighter jet and dumping poop on...
Oh, that's the kind of president they like. That's the kind of president they like. Showing a video of him dropping poop on the No Kings protesters. That's y'all's boss. That's y'all's president who would do that.
Protesting citizens, all of that is designed to distract you from the fact that your situation has not gotten better. They do it so you won't notice that while they're helping the wealthiest, most powerful people in the country consolidate more wealth and more power, your bills are still going up. And you're waiting longer at airports because there aren't enough air traffic controllers. And the program helping your kid with special needs was just gutted. So that is...
He's black to me, knows Bradford. He can be whatever he wants to be for you. He's my black president. And he considers himself black, so he's black. He's black enough. So he's the first black president. Don't be a hater because he's better than your trash president. Don't be a hater.
What's happening? And the good news is there's something you can do about it. right here, right now, because you've got a candidate for governor who's got a track record of getting stuff done, somebody who sees you and has been with you and knows your struggles and will fight for you every single day. Virginia, it's time to point America in a better direction by electing Abigail Spanberger as your next governor.
I don't think she feel any type of way. She done took her dirt nap. What's your point? What's your point?
Now listen, Abigail doesn't go around bragging about herself all the time, talking about how I'm great. But she's great. As a former federal law enforcement officer, as a CIA case officer working on counterterrorism, she knows what it takes to keep.
You all make sure you're hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We do this kind of content every day. We just happen to be early today. I normally do content at 10 o'clock at night, and I may be back at 10 o'clock at night for some kind of session. Who knows? But please hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button. We always have fun over here. We have fun while we roll into the polls. We're having fun. Hey, Jihan, hey.
Community safe. As the mom of 3 kids in Virginia public schools, you know she cares about helping every child.
Wait a minute, is the black lady, is she Republican or is she Democrat? I don't know. Is she black? Is she Democrat or is she Republican? That's the big question. You said there's a black lady who has the best track record. Is she a Republican or a Democrat?
And helping every teacher succeed. As a member of Congress, he was a workhorse, not a show horse, fighting to lower prescription drug costs, giving veterans the support they deserve. Abigail does not just say the right thing. As your governor, she will do the right thing. She understands the government can make a difference in people's lives by educating our kids for the jobs of the future, keeping our air and water clean, protecting consumers from fraud and dangerous products, providing a safety net for seniors and folks with disabilities, investing in the infrastructure and scientific research that drives economic growth. But Abby also knows that good intentions aren't enough. She understands that we can't afford to waste taxpayer dollars on programs that don't work.
You don't have to hit no button, Roseanne. Kick rocks. The hell you doing over here then? You mad because I'm a Democrat? Jesus. Y'all Republicans don't want to support nobody but Republican issues. Y'all don't never hear nothing but y'all side. It's always hate, hate, hate. I ain't hitting this button for this devil. What do you mean devil? What do you mean devil? That's what I mean. You Republicans don't stand for nothing. Just like you ain't a devil, I'm not a devil. Y'all wild. Y'all Republicans wild.
And she understands that instead of just trying to tear government down, it's her job to make it work better. So Abigail has real, practical plans to grow the economy and strengthen Virginia's schools and lower the cost of everything from housing to health care to energy. And she is willing to reach across the aisle to make it happen. She has shown that she can do it. Abigail is ranked as the most bipartisan member of Congress from the Commonwealth. She's had bills signed into law by both President Trump and President Biden. That is not easy to do. And Abigail doesn't just believe in working with everybody, and this is really important, in listening to everybody, whether they voted for her or not. Because she knows that if we want...
It's amazing, Jetty, that you have nothing to say about whether the Republicans ever asked one question or took one vote for the health care. Republicans never said a thing about health care. They don't want you to have health care. But yet the people that showed up, you got pushback for the people showed up, but you ain't got pushback for the people who didn't want you to have health care. Y'all be dumb on some of these things. The Republicans been trying to kill healthcare since it started, so you could pay for your own healthcare without having any subsidies. But y'all willing to give all y'all money to those rich people.
Want to make progress on the things that we care about. We have to be able to disagree without calling each other nasty names.
We've been winning all this year, Edward. I don't even know what you're talking about. We've been winning all year long. Go back and look at all the races. Democrats have been winning all year long.
Names are demonizing each other. So at a time when our politics feels broken, we need desperately leaders like Abigail, public servants who are in it for the right reasons and are focused on the future, and who will always stay connected to the people they were elected to serve. Now,
Democrats stand up. We on the right side of history. The Republicans don't stand on nothing. The only thing they can come in the chat and talk about is somebody, the gay, the trans, free healthcare. That's all they come over here and talk about. They don't have nothing else to stand on. Obama ain't black. We can't stand the gays. We can't stand the transgender. We can't stand. That's all they got to talk about. Democrats stand proud because we have the best going. We have the best ideas. The country runs on our ideas. Stand up. Don't bow down to these MAGAs. They don't know what they talking about, and they don't stand for nothing. There ain't nothing that they standing for. Nothing. And now people starting to see it.
not so much. When someone asked her, and I'm just following this from a distance, when someone asked her apparently about all the federal workers fired by this administration, given how important that is to Virginia, apparently Abigail's opponent said she wanted to talk about real issues. Didn't understand why these job cuts are, quote, a huge thing. Now, I don't know about you, but seeing your neighbors and your friends, your customers.
Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, the hate button, the subscribe button, the share button. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Maybe some of your family members suddenly out of work, even though they've dedicated their lives to serving people, having trouble making their mortgage. Maybe it's just me. Seems like a pretty big thing to me. Pretty huge. And I'd want a governor to be paying attention to it. Abigail's opponent does seem to care a lot about what Trump and his cronies are doing. And she's praised the Republican tax law that would raise the cost of health care and housing and energy here in Virginia. She supported bills that would strip funding from Virginia public schools. She says she's morally opposed to protecting reproductive rights. Says she will do everything in her power to cut off access to abortion. Virginia, you don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people she was elected to serve. You deserve a governor who will think for herself and work for you. A governor who will create jobs and not cut them, and who will lower costs instead of raising them, and who will bring people together instead of dividing them, and who will do what's right for the people of Virginia, no matter what anybody in Washington thinks. You deserve a governor like Abigail Spanberger.
He could be a Muslim and don't matter, Gene. He's still the better president than your president ever will be. Ever will be.
Because I'm going to bring it down here for a second. Because at the end of the day, what this election's about, what politics in a democracy is always about, is values. What do we care about? What do we believe?
Yes, what do we believe? Republicans don't stand on nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
What do we prioritize? What are our core convictions? You know, a lot of people have asked me lately whether I'm surprised by the direction the country's taking. And even though I am the hope and change guy, I try to be honest with them. So I say, yes, there are things I am worried about. I am worried about how quickly basic democratic rules and norms have been weakened. I'm worried about how willing Republicans in Congress have been to surrender their role as members of a co-equal branch of government, refusing to buck the president even when they know he's out of line.
Republicans don't stand for nothing. Hey!
Even when a lot of them will privately admit that power is being abused in ways that will hurt their constituents and hurt the country.
They don't stand for nothing.
I worry about a Supreme Court that, so far at least, has shown no willingness to check this administration's excesses.
They don't stand for nothing.
Even when those actions break legal precedent and seem to defy the bedrock principle that no one is above the law.
They don't stand for nothing.
I worry about the growing concentration of economic power in this country, with just a handful of mega billionaires and companies controlling what we see and what we hear. And I worry about how much that economic power distorts the political process. I worry about how readily not just business leaders, but others with influence in law firms and universities have been willing to bend the knee to this president's autocratic impulses to avoid retribution or protect profits or simply to avoid controversy. And I worry sometimes how we've come to accept this as normal. But what I also tell people when they ask me about this, what I also try to remind them, is that America's always had competing stories about who we are and what this nation stands for. The first story says, we the people, just means some of us. That in order to qualify, you have to be the right color, or come from the right family, or worship in the right way, or have enough money. It says that even though we got rid of a king, there's still a caste system in America, a pecking order of who makes decisions and who obeys, who gets opportunity and who is obliged to serve. And it's a story that's policed by fear and force, that tries to convince people that for their group to win, another group has to lose. That if somebody doesn't look like you or think like you or practice religion exactly the same way you do, they must be a threat to your way of life, and they need to be put in their place. And that's how Donald Trump thinks about America. Make America great again by putting the people like him back in charge, even if they don't know what the hell they're doing. Now, but here's the thing. That story is not new. That's the oldest story in the book. It's not even uniquely American. For most of human history, that's the way society's worked. There's somebody on top and somebody on the bottom. There were lords and there were peasants. And for a long time, that story of caste and privilege and concentrated power, that was the law of the land here in America. If you looked like me, you were likely treated as property. If you were a woman or a white man who did not own property, you could not vote. For a long time, if you were an Irish or Italian immigrant, we're not hiring. If you're Jewish or Asian, don't bother applying to our school.
And that's your problem, Madeline. You don't know facts from hate. Just because it hits you where it hits you and you feel some type of way don't mean he's spitting hatred. That's y'all's problem. Y'all don't know how to sit in your discomfort. Learn to sit in your discomfort instead of running your mouth.
You weren't even treated as an American, even though you were here. But from the very start, there was another story, born of this nation's true revolutionary spirit. A story that says we the people means what it says, that all of us are included, that we are not subjects.
No, you can't. Otherwise, you would never have said what you said. Otherwise, it never would have said. Nothing he told is a lie. Your president is trash, and everybody around the world knows it. We just have to put up with it because you zombies voted for him.
We are citizens defined not by race.
Because you zombies voted for him.
Or religion, or gender, or sexual orientation, but by our commitment to a common creed and a willingness to accept not just the privileges, but the responsibilities that come with that citizenship.
Well, you know what? That's dumb as hell, Osmos God. You're always over here talking about keeping it real. You're always talking about being partisan or not being partisan. And you can't even acknowledge that your president says some bullshit every time he opens his mouth about lefties. Every time. You can never be honest about that.
That's what made the American experiment.
Stop coming over here talking about his sexual orientation. We're not talking about that. We're talking about his deeds and his progress. Nobody said, that's what I said about you Republicans. Y'all stand on nothing. It's always about hate, hate, hate. I hate him because he started the gay thing. I hate him because he black. I hate him because he like trans. I hate him because he like abortion. I hate him, hate him. Y'all don't stand on nothing. Nothing.
Unique. That's what made us special. And through generations of struggle and
I ain't blocking Jack, Timothy, and I'm the only one in charge here, unless somebody doing it for me, which I don't know anything about.
sacrifice, through the faith of abolitionists and the struggle of suffragists, through a civil war and civil rights protests, through
Absolutely, RJ Mondo. Absolutely. You zombie.
union organizing drives and government reforms and investment in public education, we moved closer to those founding ideas. And in the process, we inspired the world. And that's the story I believe in, Virginia. I believe in an America in which we all deserve equal protection under the law and nobody is above the law. I believe in an America where every child has a chance at a good education, and anybody who's willing to work and find a job or start a business and make a decent living. An America where opportunity isn't just reserved for those who were born into privilege or happen to have the right connections. I believe in an America where we don't fear each other, but look out for each other. And if we want that story to continue, if we believe in that better story, we need leaders who believe in it too.
Stop spreading lies over here, RJ Mondo. That kind of shit gets you blocked when you deliberately start lies and you can't back them up.
We need leaders who will tell the truth and who will take responsibility and tackle hard problems and bring people together instead of tearing them apart.
Don't be a hater, just me. Don't be a hater. He's better than your trash president. We know that.
We need leaders who won't serve bosses in Washington or big corporate donors, but instead will serve the people who put them there. Virginia, we need leaders like Abigail Spanberger. But here's the thing. As good as Abigail is, you can't do it alone. Because the truth is, all of us are being tested right now. Trump and the Republicans, they want you to think, it's part of their story, that things only happen from the top down. That a few people in power make decisions, and the rest of us have to live with the consequences. But real change has always come from the bottom up. From ordinary folks who look around and say, we can do better, and then join together to make change happen. So it's up to us as citizens to stand up for the values we hold dear. If we want a country that believes in free speech and the rule of law, then we have to fight for it, even when it's hard or inconvenient. If we are opposed to violence against people we disagree with or who look a certain way, then we have to speak out when those values are violated.
They reckless today. They real reckless today. No, just me. You're the one who doesn't accept the fact that your president is trash. He just doesn't accept that he's trash and y'all are zombies. That's all.
If we believe in honesty and hard work and treating other people the way we want to be treated, then we have to model it in our own lives, in our workplaces, in our schools, our neighborhoods, our places of worship. And if we want a government that is responsive and honest, that works for the many and not just the few, then we have to get out there and vote for it. When I think back to a year ago, I remember talking to some people, even some folks who were friends of mine.
I thought RJ Mondo, I thought you were going to bring facts over here. I thought you were going to go and find this information you were talking about. See, you didn't put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, sir. I would like to know where you hear that at, where you get it from.
Who would say, you know what, this election doesn't matter all that much. That whoever the next president ended up being, it wasn't going to matter to them. If nothing else, the last 9 months.
You didn't give me facts, just me. You didn't give me facts. I didn't see one fact from you. Quit lying. Your feelings are not facts.
They have cured us of that idea. Because the stakes are now clear. We don't need to speculate about the dangers to our democracy. We don't need to wonder about whether vulnerable people are going to be hurt Or ask ourselves how much more coarse and mean our culture can become. We've witnessed it. Elections do matter. And they matter for you. People in power may be counting on your citizens. They want you to think there's nothing you can do. Nothing to stop them. Because they know it, once that thought worms into your head, they've won.
Oh no, we ready. We ready, Obama.
But if there's one thing history has taught us, it is the most important office in democracy is not president or even governor.
So what does that have to do with Obama, just me? Many houses closed under that. That's when Bush ran the economy into the ground and Obama had to save it. Zombie, look it up. Zombie.
Office of citizen. We all have more power than we think. We just have to use it. So if you believe in that better story of America, do not sit this one out. Vote for leaders like Abigail who believe it too. Leaders who care about your freedoms and will fight for your rights and who will go to work every day to try to make your life just a little bit better. And then get your friends and family members, your neighbors and co-workers to vote too. Because if we do that, not only will we elect Abigail Spanberger, your next governor, you won't just put Virginia on the path to a brighter future.
I get that Obama ushered in the gay and the trans thing. I get all of that. And I can see that. But that didn't make him a bad president. Let's be clear. Stop putting him in that same category. I understand what he ushered. I understand that the gay and the trans got a hold of him and said, okay, help us X, Y, and Z. But that don't mean he was a bad president. Stop it.
You will set a glorious example for the nation. Thank you, Norfolk. God bless you. God bless these United States of America.
Obama was one of the best presidents that we done had. One of the best presidents that we have had. Yeah, people who wanted the equal rights hate Obama. Just me. Y'all can't say not one thing. You can't say one thing that was terrible about the president. Not one thing. Ain't got nothing to say. Don't have nothing to say. Just wild. Don't have nothing to say. Y'all, this is what the Republicans, this is what y'all do. Y'all don't stand on nothing. Y'all don't never stand on nothing. That's what I don't like about you Republicans. You never stay on nothing.
Fight right now than that for free and fair elections. Donald Trump and the Republicans are trying to thwart the will of voters by rigging congressional maps. But lawyers like me, well, we're fighting back, and so are an increasing number of Democrats. In this video, I'll explain what is happening in the war over redistricting. From red state gerrymandering to litigation to blue state redraws. And by the end, I'll give you 3 things you can do right now to help protect free and fair elections in 2026. But before we get into it, subscribe to this channel to stay informed about how you can defend democracy. Anyone who follows my work or frankly is paying attention to democracy knows that Donald Trump and the Republican Party is waging an all-out attack on free and fair elections. Donald Trump is terrified that he will have a Republican Congress after the 2026 midterm elections. Republicans in Congress are obviously terrified.
I don't need to blame Bush. I know what we did. I know what happened. You don't know what happened. This and that. Tell me what month. What month? Did it happen in the first 2 years of Obama's presidency? Did it happen then? I'd like to know. Please explain. When did it happen?
Terrified because they'd lose their jobs. And this is all coming to a boiling point in one particular area, and that is redistricting, right? If you wanted to pay attention right now to the one thing that will tell you what will happen in the midterm elections, it is the congressional redistricting process. Now, normally in 2025, smack dab in the middle of a decade, you would expect there to be virtually nothing going on with redistricting. But earlier this year, Donald Trump engaged in a strategy, a cynical strategy, a dangerous strategy, a strategy that threatens the future of free and fair elections across this country, aimed at retaining power after 2026. And that strategy is, in a nutshell, this. He went to states where Republicans control all branches of the state government, both houses of the legislature and the governor's mansion. And he told them, we in Washington, D.C., not you in the states, we in Washington, D.C., are going to send you new maps. And we're going to expect you to enact these maps. We're going to expect you not to question these maps. We're going to expect you to betray your constituents with these maps. You're just going to take what we give you. And you're going to smile, because we are the Republican Party in Washington, D.C., and we have the support of an authoritarian wannabe, Donald Trump. And so we have been watching this unfold over the course of several months now, and it has taken various twists and turns. In some states, Republicans have been successful. In some states, they've been successful so far, but they're being sued. In other states, Democrats have picked up the mantle and said, you know what? If this is how Republicans want to play, we're going to play the same game. And so what I want to do is walk you through what this looks like so that you can understand both the threats here, the possible outcomes here, and also what you can do to be part of the solution. So I need you to watch to the end of this video, because before we're done, we're going to talk about how you can help save democracy. All right, let me start by giving you kind of where we are so far. So I've broken this into several categories. And the first category we are going to talk about are the states where Republicans have already re-gerrymandered their maps. Now, why do I say re-gerrymandered the maps? Because in each of these states, Republicans had already gerrymandered their maps in 2021. So in none of these states were we starting with fair maps. We certainly weren't starting with maps that favor Democrats. I mean, we were starting with heavily gerrymandered maps. And these three states that we're going to talk about first are Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina. Okay, so Texas got a lot of the attention because it was the place that Donald Trump started. Why did he start there? For the same reason that Willie Sutton robbed banks, because it's where the money is. No, in Texas, it's not where the money is, it's where the seats are, right? Texas is a big state, and there were lots of opportunities for Republicans to screw over minority voters. That's what they did. Screw over minority voters in order to gain more safe Republican districts. In particular, they redrew the map to add 5 Republican districts. Now, to be clear, they did it on the backs of minority voters, and they did it illegally by targeting minority voters. How do I know that? Because that's what the governor of Texas told us he was doing when he called a special session. He was responding to a letter that came from the Department of Justice saying, you need to dismantle these coalition districts, these minority coalition districts, because we think they're illegal. And we need you to draw new districts. Well, the problem there is that led Texas to racially gerrymander, right? I mean, they drew maps to literally dismantle naturally occurring coalition districts. I mean, the fact that Black voters and Hispanic voters happen to live near each other and they both support, for example, Democratic candidates, is not a rationale to then say, well, we're going to separate these voters and destroy this natural coalition district. But that's what they did. All right, so that's where they started. They started in Texas. And we all watched as the Texas Democrats in the legislature left the state, and then they came back, and then the map was introduced by the Republicans, and in the dark of the night, in the middle of the night, they jammed it through the legislature. Well, here's the thing. Before dawn broke, my law firm had already sued them. That's right. There's a big lawsuit that we're waiting for an outcome. And that lawsuit was covered extensively by Democracy Docket. It was a 10-day hearing, 10 days of testimony, 10 days of argument. And as we are recording this video, we are waiting for the outcome there. And the outcome for whether or not Texas gets away with this or not will tell us a lot about what's going to happen in 2026. Now, it doesn't tell us everything because there are other states. We're going to cover a lot more states, but it's a really good jumping off point because a lot of the things that were happening in Texas are what we see elsewhere. For example, you may not know this because the legacy media doesn't cover this.
Stop lying, Cheryl Pearson. No, they're not. They're not going anywhere near Trump because Trump is not on the ballot. So they're not going near Trump. Not anymore.
Democracy Docket covered it, but the legacy media didn't cover this. That the map that was drawn by the person, the Republican in Washington, D.C., he testified at trial that he did it at the direction of the White House and the RNC. That's right. Not at the direction of the people of Texas. Actually, not even with the input of the people of Texas. He didn't give a shit what the people in Texas thought. He produced a map that the White House wanted, the RNC wanted, and then he sent it to Texas. And they were told, you pass this map. That's the key here, guys. Everybody needs to focus on this for a moment. None of this is happening because Republicans in the states want this. None of this is a grassroots movement of Republicans. It wouldn't make it right, by the way. It would still be wrong, right? I mean, it would still be wrong to gerrymander, these maps more grotesquely than they're already gerrymandered. It would still be wrong to target Black and Latino voters. But to have this being done by the White House adds a whole new layer to what's going on. Because Donald Trump is an authoritarian. He's not a map drawer. Donald Trump wants to rig the outcome of the 2026 elections. And he doesn't care whether he does it through voter suppression. He doesn't care whether he does it through military deployed in the cities. He doesn't care if he does it by trying to ban mail-in voting or trying to ban in-person early voting or trying to impose universal ID. Donald Trump's not a big thinker, okay? Donald Trump just knows what he wants the result to be. And the redistricting effort that we saw in Texas, that we're going to talk about it elsewhere, you have to understand it as part of this overall program. All the dots connect. The voter suppression dot, the military in the cities dot, the banning mail-in ballots, the misinformation and disinformation about what happened in 2020, all the election denialism. All of this is part of laddering up to, in 2026, depriving you, the American people, of free and fair elections. All right, so we started with Texas, but we're not going to end with Texas, right? So Texas, 5...
You all make sure you hit the like button and hate button. Hit all the buttons that we need. Please hit the like and share. Hit the like and share. Subscribe, please, and thank you.
Seats. That's in court. We're waiting for a court decision, and that's what happened there. Then Republicans rolled through to Missouri and basically repeated this, but on a smaller scale. Why on a smaller scale? Because they'd already gerrymandered almost as much as you humanly could, as you possibly could in the state of Missouri. So what they did is they targeted one district in Kansas City and essentially carved Kansas City up into 3 different pieces, obliterated Kansas City on the redistricting map. And the result is no more Democrat. Now, what do you think the racial competition?
The fact that Obama saved the economy by signing that big gigantic bill and brought us back from something as bad as the Great Depression would make him one of the best presidents that we've ever had. I don't even understand how you even fix your mouth, just me. Because if you don't understand that, then you slow, okay? If you don't understand that.
Position of that district was. That's right. This was a district where Black citizens of Missouri in Kansas City could elect their candidate of choice, who was and is Emanuel Cleaver, a Black member of Congress, a reverend, long-standing member of that delegation. Well, that preference by those Black voters will no longer be heard in the...
That's why you're dumb, just me. That's why you're dumb and you're a zombie. That's why you're dumb and you're a zombie. I don't need to go back and tell. I was there. So I already know what the economy was like. You're a zombie if you haven't read. You haven't read, so obviously you're a zombie. So as long as you haven't read, shut up. Because you don't know what you're talking about. The economy was in a ditch. Shut up. If you don't know that, then you don't know anything. The economy was not good. Zombie, Jesus.
The state of Missouri, because the White House doesn't want it to be. Now, isn't it coincidence? 2 states, and so far all we're talking about are districts held by Hispanic and Black members in Texas and a Black member in Missouri. Now, you keep totals because we're not done.
Then you're even more of a zombie. If you don't understand the economy was shit, you're even more of one. You've been in a fog forever. You're crazy.
Those up yet. But that's where we are in Missouri, except
Go back and read, because you're dumb then. If you don't understand, it wasn't. I was born at that time too.
once again, my law firm filed a lawsuit almost immediately. Other lawsuits as well were filed in Missouri. Those lawsuits are moving forward. And by the way, anyone who thinks that these lawsuits are going to take too long, oh, no, 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 no. We litigate fast. We litigate aggressively, and we litigate fast. Like that's one thing. One thing Republicans know about me is I'm aggressive. Steve Bannon says, I'm evil, but I'm a fighter. I'm not evil, by the way, but I am a fighter, and we move fast. And so we're going to try to get relief. We're going to do everything we can to get relief in Texas and Missouri and all the rest of the states we're talking about for 2026. So that is where we are in Missouri. They carved up this one district to create an additional Republican seat, but litigation is pending. All right, now let's move to North Carolina. I think you could argue that pound for pound, the North Carolina Republicans are the most partisan, vote suppressor, racial gerrymanderers in the country. Now, I know you're saying that's quite a tall order because some of you are saying your own state meets that criteria or some other state you think meets that criteria. But I would actually give the award to North Carolina. I mean, remember, it was North Carolina Republicans in 2013, before Donald Trump, passed a voter suppression law that the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals struck down for targeting African Americans with.
Why don't you read those stats, just me? Why don't you read those stats of 2007 to 2009? Just read the stats. Y'all just be talking for nothing. You Republicans just be talking. You know and I know the economy wasn't no good back then. You just be talking. Read the stats. Those stats, all 5 markers say we were in a recession. We were in a really deep, bad depression when Obama took over, and Obama pulled us out of it. Stop lying to people.
Near surgical precision. That's what they said. Literally, that was 2013 Republicans. So you can imagine what the Republicans are like today. At one point, Republicans gerrymandered a map so aggressively that they said the only reason why there were any Democrats left is because it was not physically possible to gerrymander further. I have sued North Carolina over their gerrymandering, and I have won. In fact, I won a case in the U.S. Supreme Court, the conservative U.S. Supreme Court, dismantling the racial gerrymandering that the Republicans in North Carolina did in the last go-around. And so here we are. They pass another map. It is a preposterous gerrymander, but they have now come back and improved on that from their standpoint by targeting North Carolina 1, the 1st congressional district. Now, I bet you can guess what the racial composition is of that district and the Democrat who represented. That's right. Once again, they targeted a district where Black voters have a large say in the election of the candidate who wins that election, who happens to be Congressman Davis, a Black Democrat from North Carolina. So that's the district they targeted. And that is the district that is now the subject of yet again new litigation.
As Ponder 6, he bailed out businesses in his first term, not his second term. Y'all just be talking.
Law firm brought almost immediately. Again, other plaintiffs filed litigation as well. And so that case is also pending before the courts. In Texas, it's before a federal court. A hearing's already been held. We're awaiting a decision. Missouri, those cases are in state court. North Carolina, those are in federal court. So those are the 3 places where Republicans have already accomplished, from their standpoint, their effort to subvert the will of the electorate, to try to deny voters in those 3 states of maps that give them some fathomable chance of electing candidates of choice, and instead replaced terrible gerrymanders with grotesque gerrymanders. Now, notice in all 3 of them, we are suing. So I don't want anyone thinking that there's no hope. I don't want anyone watching this video and saying all is lost. If you're in that crowd, you know what? Turn this video off. Go watch a cat video. Go watch a video of something else. But if you're in the all hope is lost camp, then you're in the wrong place, because I am not an all hope is lost kind of guy. I recognize the threats that we face. No one is selling you, sugar water here. I recognize that democracy is under attack every single day. I know because I take a lot of the slings and arrows that come from Donald Trump and his cronies. But I also understand that if we fight hard and we fight to win, we are going to win more cases than they think we will. And we're going to catch some luck, and we're going to catch some breaks. And if we do all that, we may just come through the other side of this with a democracy intact. But it's going to take hard work from the lawyers, it's going to take hard work from the activists, it's going to take hard work from politicians, and it's going to take hard work from you. And like I said, stay to the end of this video because I'm going to tell you what the work is I need from you to do. And I'm just about to talk about the next category of states. Do me a favor. The team at Democracy Docket works every single day to keep you informed about what is happening to democracy in court. And that includes voting rights, includes redistricting. It includes all of the terrible things that Donald Trump is doing. And what I ask you to do is become a Democracy Docket subscriber today. There are free newsletters, there are premium options, but either way, the links to all of that are in the description of this episode. So please become a subscriber today. Now, we've talked about where Republicans are done, but let's talk about where Republicans are going, because there's a whole new wave of states that Donald Trump is telling that they need to do his bidding next. And yeah, some of these states are feigning, well, no, we're not going to do this. They'll all cave. Believe me, they'll all cave. So let's start with the ones who are not just going to cave, but they're going to cave enthusiastically, and then we'll get to some of the more reluctant. So Ohio Republicans have to redistrict. Why? Because they gerrymandered last time. The clock ran out, and so they got to pass a new map. Ohio is sort of complicated and frustrating. There is a bipartisan commission in the state, but it's kind of a sham because it's controlled by Republicans. And so what's happening there is they've basically gone to the Democrats and said, look, you either accept a pretty gerrymandered map. I mean, let's be clear, they already have a gerrymandered map. And so this will be an even more gerrymandered map. You either accept this or we're going to impose something even more draconian. So Democrats are going to make that deal. As a result, this is going to be a bad deal for Democrats, but they kind of don't have any cards here. It looks like what's likely going to happen there is that there will be what the legacy media will no doubt call a bipartisan compromise. There was no bipartisanship here. This was a Republican demand that Democrats either acceded to or faced even more draconian map. So that's probably what's going to happen there. Probably, therefore, no litigation, at least not in the near term. But Republicans, again, will wind up picking up, depending on how you look at it, between 1 and 3 seats as a result of this. And, that is terrible for democracy. And shame on the Republicans for continuing to do this. But that's Ohio. Next up will be Florida. Now, Florida won't be up next in time. Florida is up next in certainty. Florida has a later legislative session than everyone else, which is the reason why you're not hearing much about it. Their legislature meets in the dead of the winter, which, by the way, if you're in Florida, kind of makes some sense. So they're not going to do their new gerrymandering project until their legislature meets at the beginning of next year. But make no mistake, they have already said they're going to call a new session. They already said they're going to gerrymander. Ron DeSantis is, if nothing, he is a anti-democratic sycophant of Donald Trump at heart. And so you can expect the worst of the worst to come out of Florida. In fact, I think if there is a competitor for North Carolina, it's gonna be Florida. And Florida is a state that I have sued before. My law firm and I have sued over all kinds of things. We sued them for banning food and water in line. We sued them for passing voter suppression laws. We sued them, they had the audacity to actually pass a law several years ago. It's actually one of the laws I can't even believe when I say it out loud, that said that you could put an early voting center in any public building in the state, except a public building on a college campus. Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, that's the law. That was it. It was like, yep, early voting everywhere except, on college campuses. So we sued, we won, that got struck down. So that's no longer the case. So, but anyway, I've also won, by the way, a big redistricting case in the state of Florida. For a brief period of time, Florida actually had very fair maps, and it had fair maps because we sued Florida under its state constitution, which bans partisan gerrymander, bans going after minority voting strength, and bans favoring an incumbent or disfavoring an incumbent. Well, look, Ron DeSantis doesn't care about any of that. He's going to ignore all of that. And so the map that they're going to pass is both going to be an extreme partisan gerrymander that will target Democratic incumbents because they're Democrats. It'll violate all of those amendments. And so don't sleep on Florida. There's going to be litigation in Florida. There will be more litigation in Florida. And I think that Ron DeSantis is going to get so greedy and so arrogant that he's going to give away the game. And so watch what happens in Florida, not just what they do, but watch how quickly litigation gets filed right away afterwards. All right, after those two, there's then three others that are sort of kicking around that I want us to keep paying attention to. Indiana, Kansas, and Nebraska. In one form or another, the Republicans in state are claiming, oh, no, we're as pure as the driven snow. Bullshit. In every one of these states, there are Republican gerrymanders. Okay, there are no good Republicans. I did a whole video about how there are no good Republicans. You should go watch it. But there are no Republicans who have done the right thing when it comes to the maps that are already in place. The question is, how bad will they make the maps? And will they hold out any shred of control or dignity in their state, or are they just going to cave to the White House like the other states have? My bet is Indiana caves, Kansas maybe caves, Nebraska probably doesn't cave. So like 1.5 to 2 of those 3 wind up caving. And in each one, it will look very much like the story we've laid out, right? In Kansas, if they go after any district, it'll be Sharice Davis. In Indiana, they've got a couple to choose from, but it will, as likely as not, target seats that not just the Democrats control, but where black voters make up a significant part of the population. And in Nebraska, if they do something in Nebraska, it will be aimed at Omaha, right? So that's what we know with that second wave of states, right? These are the states Republicans haven't yet done anything with, but it is not going to be a surprise if they do something. And what I can promise the Republicans out there, because, there are Republicans who watch my videos. I occasionally, they hate the videos, but they hate watch them. So hello, Republicans hate watching the videos. Here's the thing. You're going to get sued because you're going to break the law. You're going to target minority voters, which is going to break not just the law, but the Constitution. And you may even violate your own state constitution. And if you do any of those 3 things, you're going to get sued fast, or we're going to sue you in time for 2026. And just look at my record. I don't have to, you don't have to take my word for it. Ask Donald Trump how it's worked out when he and I have litigated against each other. I kicked his ass more than 60 times after 2020. I think that's part of why he doesn't like me. Donald Trump once called me the Democratic Party's best election stealing lawyer. I don't steal elections. I just enfranchise voters. For Donald Trump, that's what he thinks election stealing is. All right. So that's only part of the picture, though, right? We've only talked about the places where Republicans think they're going to go on offense. But what about the Democrats? I came out as soon as Donald Trump announced Texas. I came out and publicly said, and I said it on MSNBC to Nicole Wallace. I said it on YouTube videos that I did on this channel. I said it on YouTube videos with Brian Tyler Cohn. I said it on other podcasts. I was very, very straightforward about it.
He's the top lawyer that he's filing lawsuits. He's the top lawyer that's filing lawsuits against gerrymandering. He's the top lawyer.
As I said, actually, with Tim Miller on the Bulwark, that Democrats should go out and gerrymander 30 seats. Yeah, they do 5, we do 30. Now, why did I say that? I said it because the only way we were going to stop Texas from spreading, the only thing that would cause the White House second thoughts, is if the result of stealing 5 seats in Texas was that Democrats would redistrict out 30 Republicans from Congress.
His name is Mark Elias. Mark, M-A-R-C, Elias, E-L-I-A-S. He's a top lawyer suing people who who do gerrymandering on the maps. He's the person that sues his firm.
Because if you did that, 2 things would happen. Number one, they might think they might not win the math. The second thing is, though, you'd create 30 Republican lobbyists against Texas, right? I mean, think about it. What's the most effective way to lobby against Republican gerrymandering? to get other Republicans lobbying against Republican gerrymandering. And so the best way to do that, in my view, was on day one, tell these 30 Republicans in California and New York and New Jersey and Oregon and Washington and Illinois and Maryland and in Virginia, right? Tell them that they're going to lose their seats if Donald Trump goes through with this in Texas. You're all going to lose your seats, every damn one of you. And let them be the ones who put pressure on Mike Johnson. Let them be the ones calling on the White House not to do this gerrymandering, because they would be much more effective advocates. And by the way, given the slim majorities in the House, they would be enough votes if they stood together as a block rather than as a bowl of jello in front of Donald Trump. They'd be able to pull it off, because they could say, look, we're 30 Republican members. We're not going to vote for anything you want unless you call this off in Texas. We won't vote for your budgets. We won't vote for any of your bills. We won't approve any of your tax plans. We won't approve your health care. Like they would be able to say, look, we're 30 Republicans. We're endangered by this. So call it off, or else, like, essentially, we're just going to vote with Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats. And that would have done the thing that was necessary to prevent this from happening. But that isn't what Democrats chose to do. Instead, what happened is Gavin Newsom came forward and said, okay, Texas, if you do 5, we'll do 5. Now, look, I am all in on what Gavin Newsom did. Everybody watching this video, if you are in California, you got to go out and vote. You got to go out and vote now for Prop 50. Okay, because we need those 5 seats in California. Like, I got nothing but admiration and support for what's going on in California. Except that by doing 5 for 5, it didn't actually disincentivize the next state, in this case, Missouri, or the next state after that, North Carolina, because Democrats were just matching them, right? And the whole deterrence required you to exceed them. But that isn't where we are.
You know what? Why don't you Republicans do me a favor and start listening instead of telling people that they're a liar? You never come up with facts. People who say facts around you guys, they're pathological liars. And then you have nothing to prove them wrong. Would you stop saying that? Because I hate dumb people. I hate having a dumb conversation with people who don't do facts or research.
So California didn't do the 9 seats I asked them to do. They did 5. Again, everybody support the 5. Go vote if you're in California, because we need those 5 seats. It's going to pass, by the way, but we need it to pass with a really big margin. And I'm going to talk about that at the end. Remember, I said I got something for you to do. But that's what happened. Democrats did 5 in California. Now, interestingly, what happened next took a lot of people by surprise. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it took me a little bit by surprise, even though I live in Virginia, which is the Democrats in Virginia said, you know what? We're going to redraw our map too. And all of the people who said we can't do it, for the same reasons they said they couldn't do it in California, the same reasons they're saying you can't do it in New York, the same reasons they're saying you can't do it in New Jersey and elsewhere, because of a nonpartisan redistricting process. What the folks in Virginia said is, oh, we can do it. We have a way to do it. We have to, in order to do it, we have to pass a change or repeal of a state constitutional amendment. And it has to be done in 2 different legislative sessions. And then it has to be voted on by the people of Virginia. And people were like, well, you're not going to be able to do that because, there are not 2 legislative sessions, like between now and 2026.
Right.
And they said, oh, but there are. Because Glenn Youngkin, the person who ran as if he was some kind of moderate, who turned out just to be another MAGA. I've said this 1,000 times. There is no moderate Republican. There is scared MAGA and there's proud MAGA. And they're no better than each other. I don't care whether you are scared if you're MAGA. Cry me a fucking river. Okay, I know what it's like to be attacked by Donald Trump. I know what it's like to have his hordes of haters go after you. Okay. No one made you run for office, Glenn Youngkin. No one made you run for office. Congressman Kiley, whatever it is, the guy who's going to lose his seat in California, who's now crying that he claims is moderate. No one made you run for office, Mike Lawler in New York, right? And so if you're going to run and say you're a moderate, and then you're immediately going to be just a MAGA, another MAGA vote, another MAGA enabler, another anti-democracy force, another person who carries out Donald Trump's agenda and acts as if Donald Trump is totally normal, acts as if what he is doing right now to this country is anything other than authoritarian. If you're going to be that person, I don't care whether you're that person because you're proud of it or because you're scared. Either way, you're MAGA. So anyway, Glenn Youngkin called a special session earlier this year, earlier in 2025. Different topic. And the Democrats never closed the special session. Like they stopped meeting in the special session, but they didn't close it. It's still open. And so that allowed Democrats to essentially resurrect this special session and pass for the first time, the first of two times it has to, a change in this.
What? She's the first time she's the first Democrat you ever believed? So if they say it's rigged like you, then you believe them. Zombie.
State constitutional amendment in Virginia. In fact, that process has already begun and already started being successful. Now, what did the Republicans do? They went to court. What happened next? They lost. They went to court and lost the next day. My law firm, we intervened. We filed to intervene against this Republican effort. They chose to bring their lawsuit in a very rural county in the southwestern most part of the state. It's quite a distance from Northern Virginia. It's quite a distance from Richmond, where you might think the lawsuit would be brought. They needed a Hail Mary sort of temporary restraining order, and the judge said no. Now, that case will still go forward, but without the temporary restraining order, it means the legislature in the meantime can do what it's doing, which is pass it for this first time. I don't think this will be their last lawsuit. Republicans are good at filing lawsuits, and they're really good at losing lawsuits. In California,
I know that you ain't over here just me talking about crying a river when they lose. Republicans created an insurrection because they zombie-like idiot leader lost in 2020. You zombies created a... Stop it. Stop it. You zombies created an insurrection when your lying thug leader lost. Stop it.
They filed a lawsuit to try to stop the ballot initiative directly in the California Supreme Court. And the California Supreme Court didn't just dismiss it. The California Supreme Court dismissed it without even making the state respond. I was actually thinking maybe we should intervene to defend it. But before, honestly, I could complete that thought, the California Supreme Court had dismissed the lawsuit. So then, the Republicans wanting to block this came up with a new theory to stop it. So they filed another lawsuit, and the same thing happened. I mean, literally the same thing happened. I mean, it's humiliating. They filed two lawsuits, and both times they got dismissed before anyone even had to respond to them. So then Ronnie Jackson, the former doctor in the White House, the MAGA guy from Texas now, he filed a lawsuit in Texas. He filed a lawsuit in Texas to try to stop the ballot initiative in California. If you're scratching your head, there's no logic here. There's no legal, there's no surprise at the end of this. He filed it before a very famous conservative judge who, is about as good a draw as you're ever going to get if you are a conservative cause. I mean, you can go look it up yourself. But this is kind of a famous situation, let's just call it. Ronnie Jackson couldn't get that judge to sign off on it. He dismissed this case. So they're 0 for 3 in California. And now they're 0 for in Virginia. But I don't think that's going to stop them. See, one of the things about Republicans, they're in the volume business of litigation, not the quality business, right? They kind of do litigation by the yard. I like to think that we bring a lot of cases. We do. Right now, my law firm and I are litigating more than 60 cases in 30 states. And those are, by the way, just election cases. Like, those are not like commercials. This is literally about how we're going to conduct elections in 2026. So we bring a lot of litigation. We're involved in a lot of cases. But, we bring a measure of rigor and quality to them. Republicans, they're just in a volume business. But anyway, so I don't think we've seen the last of litigation in Virginia, but they're not going to be able to stop it in court. Oh, no. This is going to go forward. And then the question is, how many seats? So, look, I think a fair map in Virginia, and I mean this, a fair map in Virginia, because Virginia right now doesn't have fair maps. Virginia right now has what, if you looked at it based on the performance of the state on a statewide basis, performance of the state on its Senate elections, presidential elections, gubernatorial elections, other statewide elections, and also at congressional elections. You just add up the total number of voters who vote for one party or the other. So no matter how you look at it, the map in Virginia is not fair. I was against the map in Virginia. I was actually against the constitutional amendment. I thought the legislature should have been able to draw the maps to begin with in Virginia. And the map that they came up with, this bipartisan team, was just an atrocious map. I mean, everything about it was atrocious. I could do a whole video about why that map was a calamity to begin with, but I won't. I'll spare you that. But a fair map, by my estimation, would be that Democrats would gain 3 seats. Now, I can easily make the case for 4. In fact, I am going to right here make the case for 4. I think that Democrats should gain 4 seats off of a redraw. I'm not saying 5, I'm saying 4. They should gain 4 seats. I worry that they'll only seek 3. If they seek 3, honestly, that is just like what a map should have been. But I'm gonna hope they do 4. Okay. Let's say hope springs eternal. If you live in Virginia, call your legislators and tell them to do 4 seats. Okay, it won't be an ugly map. It'll be actually quite a compact looking map. It'll be a good map for voters. Like, it won't be like a monstrosity. It won't destroy communities of interest. It won't be wildly winding. It won't undermine minority voting rights. It'll actually improve minority voting rights. So 4 is a good map. And if you live in Virginia, tell your state legislators 4 seats. All right, that's Virginia. And so Republicans didn't see that coming, because if Democrats gain 3 or 4, call your legislature 4. If they gain 3 or 4 seats, then, now you're starting to do some significant offsetting of what we've talked about. The Republicans, they're still in the lead, but you've done some offsetting. And now you have to look at where else is in play. And I get this question a lot. And what I'll tell you is that from a litigation standpoint, from my standpoint, we're looking everywhere. To many people's surprise, my law firm, we sued New York. Yeah, just last week, got a lot of news. Elias Law Group sues New York. People were like, who knew? And then they were like, wait, Democrats suing New York, including, by the way, you look at the caption of the complaint, we sued a bunch of Democrats who are responsible for the map or responsible for implementing the map. And look, this is a fundamental truth that you need to understand about the fight for democracy. The fight for democracy can't only go through red states. I've sued New York before. I sued New York because they had a law banning giving free food and water to people waiting in line to vote. Now, before I sued them, I was like, what the fuck, New York? Why do you have this law? You need to repeal this law. And they were like, we're not repealing the law. I was like, no, really, you need to repeal the law because otherwise I'm going to sue you. And they're like, we don't want to repeal the law. So we sued them. Then we sued them and we're like, how about now you repeal the law? And they still didn't repeal the law. We said, okay, we'll go to trial, we'll win. And we did. And then, what we did? We got attorney's fees. Yeah. State of New York cut a check to my law firm because of the money that had to be spent by our clients to bring that case. So, Republicans hate me, but if there are Democratic states that are breaking the law and denying people voting rights, denying free and fair elections, or have maps that are discriminating against minority voters, they're going to get sued. And I don't know what else to tell them. They shouldn't have illegal maps. And New York has an illegal map.
Yes, Pat Yeager, as you can hear, he's suing everybody, Democrats and Republicans. Stop it. Y'all only hear what you want to hear.
Map. So we sued New York because the current map is discriminating against minority voters in parts of New York City, including on Staten Island. And so that's where things stand in New York. I hope the elected officials in New York take a look at what the merits of that case are and decide how much resources do they want to spend defending a case in which they are in the wrong? And to what extent do they just want to redraw the map and make it legal instead? So that's where New York is, but it's not the only state that I am looking at. It is fair to say we are looking at every state. We are looking at every state where there is either a map that was passed by Republicans, passed by Democrats, enacted by a court. We are suing Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a court-drawn map, drawn by the state Supreme Court when it was a very conservative court. We believe that map is unconstitutional and violates Wisconsin law. And that case is going on. And we'll see where that goes. And we're not done. I don't think we're done. And by the way, it's not just us. There are other groups that are looking at these maps as well. And everybody needs to be looking at this with fresh eyes and without biases or anything that, can't be touched. We need to all come into this open mind because we are in a crisis of democracy. We are in a full-scale crisis of democracy. And I'm going to tell you how it could get worse. Which is, you all know there's a case, in particular, we've won some really important victories for Black voters in the Deep South. And one of those places is Louisiana. And after we won that case, a group of white plaintiffs came in, brought another case. That's the case in the Supreme Court, trying to undo that victory that could have these broad ramifications. If the Supreme Court strikes down Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act or severely curtails it, and they do it early in the year, let's say they do it in January, you're going to watch all of the states in the Deep South, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, and maybe even Texas again, redraw their maps. And they're going to do it by targeting Black members of Congress, Black voters, Hispanic members of Congress, and Hispanic voters. They're going to do it entirely on the back of minority voters. And that will be a tragedy for democracy. That will be a calamity for the hard work that has been done for decades and decades to try to bring fairness and dignity to the elections in states that to this day still discriminate all too often against minority voters. Fair Fight, the organization started by Stacey Abrams, puts that number of seats at as high as 19. The New York Times did its own analysis and put that at 12. I've got news for you. There are not 19 more seats that Democrats can find, even if they did all of the things that I said at this point. There are not 19 more seats in New York and New Jersey and, the rest of the states. Even if you got rid of the legal barriers, just the timeline would make that extremely hard. And that's on top of all of the other seats that Republicans are already gerrymandering. So we need to be paying really close attention to that. Now, obviously, if that happens, we will sue Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas again. All of those states be forewarned. If they target Black voters, if they try to disenfranchise minority voters, they're going to get sued. And we won't be the only ones suing. There'll be other people suing. But, look, I always give it to you guys straight. I give you the good and the bad. We fight hard and we fight to win, but that is going to be a hard fight on a very compressed timeline across a range of states. And so we all need to be paying attention to that, which brings me to the thing you can do. Now, before I tell you what you can do, one thing you could do right now that would make me really happy is just hit the subscribe button on this video, because helping subscribe to this channel makes sure that this video and others like it get sent out to you and many, many or more people who can benefit from it. And also consider sharing this video with your friends, and also leave me a comment. I always love to read your comments because I like to know, is this useful? Is this not useful? What more could we be doing to educate you and give you the tools necessary to educate others? All right, but I told you that I was going to tell you what else you personally could do. And so there are three things I'm going to ask you to do. The first is gerrymandering and all voter suppression is best done in darkness. Okay? There's a reason why Texas wanted to do their map in the middle of the night. There's a reason why every time Republicans pass voter suppression laws or pass new gerrymandered maps, they don't want there to be any public input or any transparency. They just want to get the map from the White House, shove it through their legislature, and be done. Because it's not going to get prettier from their standpoint if the truth comes out about what they're up to. Disenfranchising voters and undermining free and fair elections is not a popular thing with the electorate. And so they have to rely on darkness. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is not give them that. I need you to shine a light on it. And I need you not to be fatalistic. I need you not to become democracy nihilists. I need you not to say there's nothing we can do because Ron DeSantis controls the state house and state senate in Florida. I need you not to say there's nothing we can do in Indiana. I need you not to say that there is nothing we can do if the Supreme Court comes out the other side on these issues in the Deep South. There's a lot you can do. Politics at the local level, politics at the state legislative level is very, very fragile and sensitive to external pressures. Okay, these are not insulated politicians. These are folks who live in your communities. They are people who rely on your votes. They are in your civic organizations. They are coaching their kids' little league teams. You know, these are part of your community. And I need you to turn your community pressure up. I need you not only yourselves, but I need you to engage your friends, your families, your bridge club, your bowling leagues. I need you to do the thing that so many of you don't want to do, which is to inject politics into aspects of your day-to-day lives. If you don't stand up for democracy in your day-to-day lives, the same way you would stand up at a school board meeting or the same way you would stand up if you saw people being disappeared off the street, if you don't stand up for democracy issues, then we're not going to succeed. So I need you to hyper-localize this, and I need you to be loud. I need you to be peaceful. We only do peaceful here. But I need you to be loud, and I need you to engage the people in your community to stand up and not allow Republicans to gerrymander in your state. That is the first of three things. The second thing is if you live in a blue state. And here I've got tough love for you. It's not enough to look at what the red states are doing and saying they're terrible. Okay? If you live in a...
Timothy, why you keep spamming the chat with bullshit? Nobody believes you. I don't know why you keep doing that. You sound dumb. And you definitely don't bother me. We know he was one of the best presidents ever. You're just the dumb one that keeps spouting this garbage. Why do you keep doing that? Ain't nobody listening to you.
A blue state
Just dumb.
that hasn't done anything, you need to get on their ass. Okay, you are really their constituents. Or if you're a Democrat in the state of New York, all those Democrats are counting on your votes. Those state legislators are counting on your votes. Kathy Hochul counting on your votes. All of them counting on your votes. And you need to tell them that standing up for democracy and standing up for fair districts is something that matters to you. And that as they make decisions about what cases to litigate, what cases not to litigate, where to stretch and where not to stretch, where to find legal solutions to problems and where not to look for them, you need to tell them that that's your issue. That's the issue you will vote on. Not just in 2025, not just in 2026, but whenever they're up for election. And that's true, by the way, in New Jersey. That's true in Colorado.
That's sad. I can't convince you of anything, Pat. Who cares what you think? We know he was one of the best presidents. We already know that. We can tell by his accomplishments. Just because you keep saying, I understand that when people say stuff to you, maggots, say it 3, 4, 5, 10 times, y'all believe it. When somebody told you that Obama didn't do anything, 3, 4, 5 times, you believe it. Instead of doing research, we understand what his record is. So you can't change facts. It just is what it is. You just can't change facts.
Colorado right now is an absolute outrage.
Just dumb.
Look at the damn maps in Colorado and you tell me that's fair to Democrats. Democrats run the whole damn state of Colorado. If you're a Democrat in Colorado, you call your elected officials, you call your governor. There's a gubernatorial election. You ask those gubernatorial candidates what they believe about this. Do they think these are fair maps?
Everybody loves Obama. You can see that. You just hate it. That's all. You just hate it. Hater. Yeah, sit over there and hate. That's all y'all gonna do. Sit over there and hate. One of the best presidents of our lifetime. Just sit over there and hate.
They gonna do anything about it? Or are they just gonna turn the other way? You know, Maryland, Democrats control the whole process. Maryland. Democratic governor, Democratic legislature. And here we are, we've got one of the legislative leaders sending out a letter telling Democrats in Maryland, oh, no, we can't do one more seat. No, it wouldn't be prudent. I'm here to tell you it'd be very prudent. I'm here to tell you, if they're telling you there are legal reasons not to do it, that's bullshit. They don't want to do it.
Sure they do, Pat Yeager. The coons. Haven't you recognized that there's coons? Haven't you recognized that there's people that tell you what you want to hear? Haven't you recognized that? The ones that tell you what you want to hear are the coons. The ones who really know Obama will tell you the truth. And most of us think he was the best president ever. And some white people actually think that too. Just sad. You don't even know the difference between a real voter and a coon voter who's just telling you what y'all want to hear. AKA Candace Owens, AKA that officer.
Okay, so we need you all to hold the Democrats to account on redistricting, but not only redistricting. That's true on everything involving free and fair elections. You know, I can list to you some Democrats who are fighting. I mean, you know who they are. Gavin Newsom, he's fighting. J.B. Pritzker, he's fighting. I don't want to say it's just those two. There are others who are fighting, but you know who they are. I'm not talking in Congress. Congress, they got other things they're doing. I'm talking about in your states. I mean your state senators. I mean your state legislators. I mean your governors. You know who's fighting and who's not. And if they're not fighting for democracy, then frankly, they're not fighting for you and they're not representing you, and you need to do something about that. Okay, so that's the second thing. One for red states, one for blue states. Now one for everyone. You know, there is a lot of truth to the slogan, Trump always chickens out. Remember Taco? Taco was coined about trade, right? And the idea was that Trump will talk tough on trade, but if another country is pushing back, he always chickens out on tariffs. It's actually true about everything. It's actually not just true about tariffs. I mean, if you think about it, like Donald Trump sends the military into places where he's not going to get a lot of resistance. And then he doesn't send it in places where he does get resistance, or he is more guarded about it. He's less forceful. I think that's part of the reason why J.B. Pritzker has been so successful, because J.B. Pritzker has stood up to him on this military stuff. And it doesn't mean that it's not a tragedy what's happening in Illinois, but compared to what it could be, you know, you got to give Pritzker a lot of credit. And, you know, I think Gavin Newsom and his trolling of Donald Trump has really caused Donald Trump to question how much he wants to pick fights with Gavin Newsom, right? So, and I could list a whole bunch of other people, by the way. I don't mean to just keep picking on those two governors, but, you know, I think that there is an element of Trump always chickening out. And Donald Trump has a lot of different ways that he wants to subvert democracy, and they're all bad. They're all bad. Like, none of them are good. He's putting election monitors in places. He's got troops on the streets. He wants to do away with mail-in voting, early voting, certain voting equipment. He wants to be in charge of counting all the ballots. I mean, it's like for another video. In fact, I did a video on it. You can go look at it about the different ways he'll subvert the election. But on redistricting, this is just like, for him, I think, the low-hanging fruit. And we all need to make it not the low-hanging fruit. We need to make this the one that will cost him politically the most. And we have the ability to do that because his position here is fundamentally unpopular. It is unpopular. His position to rig these elections so that Republicans can't lose is not popular in red states or blue states.
Yes, it is. You got people like Pat Yeager who seems to think that, and Timothy who seems to think this president is popular. We keep explaining to them that he's not, but apparently they believe that he is.
We have won the PR war here. We have won the fight for ideas. And we need to nationalize that. Like I give a lot of credit to the folks in California. And I think there's something we need to learn from them, which is that Gavin Newsom took a big risk and said, I'm going to put on a ballot initiative, essentially undoing a process, a democracy process, a process that sounds very pro-democracy. Who wouldn't think that nonpartisan redistricting is a good process? But it's a process. It's not a result. It's a process. And Gavin Newsom put a lot on the line politically by saying, I think I can win a competition of ideas between a abstract process that yields an undemocratic results or a different process that yields better democracy results. And the outcome of this election is going to prove that he's right. I mean, Prop 50 is going to pass it in a landslide. And it's going to show Democrats, it needs to show all of us that we actually, on the substance, set aside the details, set aside what process they use in New York and what process they use in New Jersey and what process they use in Missouri and what process they use in Nebraska. Set aside for a second the damn process and just return to the principle. And on that, what's going on in California shows that it's a rout. And frankly, that's true, like I said, even in red states. And so we need to nationalize this. We need to bring this redistricting fight out of the process and into the substance and say what Donald Trump is trying to do is rig the outcome of the 2026 elections. And what Democrats are trying to do is make sure we have a chance that if more voters want to vote for Democrats, we can have a Democratic-controlled Congress. And we need to get to that point. But we're only going to get there if all of us, red states, blue states, lawyers, non-lawyers, people with big social media platforms and people with no social media platforms, we all need to embrace that message. We need to be confident. We need to not retreat into the, well, yeah, we don't really like partisan redistricting, but Donald Trump made us do it. No. We are doing something good. What is happening in California is something good. What happened in Virginia is something good. It is not a necessary evil. It is a positive good. It is the fight for democracy, which is the fight of this generation. And we need to get the legacy media on board. I mean, the legacy media is an absolute fucking calamity. I mean, let's see. CBS News capitulated. ABC News paid money, capitulated with Kimmel. Comcast now, Comcast, which owns NBC, they apparently, the bulldozing of the East Wing and the new ballroom for Trump, apparently they're one of the ones who kicked in there. And that's before you get to any of the big tech companies. I mean, so one of the reasons why I started Democracy Docket in 2020, which was before this latest round of capitulation, is I knew there needed to be independent pro-democracy media that was not dependent on billionaires or tech CEOs, and certainly not dependent on corporate overlords or venture capitalists. Now, Democracy Docket has none of that. Democracy Docket survives based on you subscribing, based on some number of you not only subscribing, but becoming premium members and helping keep the majority of Democracy Docket's content free for everybody and making sure these videos can be widely disseminated. So if you are not already supporting Democracy Docket, please do so. The links are in the description below. But whether you support Democracy Docket or any of the other pro-democracy independent media organizations like The Bulwark or The Contrarian or Down Ballot or Status News, which I love, which covers the media industry, we need to get a media infrastructure that is going to take this message of what is going on here seriously and promote it, because that is the pressure point that is going to make Donald Trump and the Republicans and Democrats all understand that Donald Trump needs to chicken out and that Democrats need to get strong on this. Because as many cases I litigate, as many times as Democrats may do the right thing, we need there to be a political price for Republicans in going against public opinion. But that starts with a media that will accurately report on what public opinion is and will spread what information is actually useful to people like you so that you can form those opinions and share them with other people. So look, I hope this video was helpful. I hope all of these videos are helpful. I hope Democracy Docket is a tool you are able to use. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with a friend, and as always, leave a comment because I listen to your feedback. I take it very seriously. It is something that I feel a commitment to you, that you watch my videos, that you give me your feedback, and I take it seriously. So please do that. And above all else, speak out and stand up for democracy.
Thank you. That is our program for the Democrats, or the program for the facts of gerrymandering. We'll be back with a subject later on this evening. We'll be back. Hit the like, subscribe, share. We will be back with a subject this evening. Thank you.